people have been pointing out, we answered the wrong question, but I couldn't understand. It's the same as when we've got Barry the groundsman at the club and he's so strong Irish and I'm so Scottish, and we're sitting have a 10-minute conversation looking at each other not knowing exactly what we're saying to each other. As I said, they'll be a big help to us this year, the fans. They're going to be massive for us.
Welcome to episode 65 of the Rebel Army podcast, the official podcast of Cork City Football Club.
This week we're joined by new men's first team manager Barry Robson.
Back on a high after a win on Friday night. Welcome, Aaron.
That was a good start, wasn't it?
Great start. You know, sometimes the last minute kind of winner is nearly better than just like a 2 or 3-0 win in many ways. I know you'd love to see a load of goals, but the drama is brilliant.
I suppose when it's a last minute winner like that, you've people going home. If you score early on, it's great. But if you've scored 2 minutes before you're walking out the gates, you'll be thinking, I can't wait to get back there now for the next one.
And it was brilliant for Keats as well, like, because he had obviously missed so much of last season. For him to get the first goal of the season as the cross, like, as well, was brilliant.
Yeah, I think it's officially gone down as an own goal off the keeper's back, but like we'll ignore that. Obviously, we're giving it to Keats anyway.
We give it to Keats. It wouldn't have gone in if he didn't bloody kick
Exactly, yeah. I'm giving it to Keats, and we have done online, which has got a few bites, so we'll stick with that.
No, we'll stick with that. Yeah, we'll say he got a goal anyway. I don't know what'll happen.
We'll be adding one to the official tally at the end of the season anyway.
He'll appreciate us for that. No, it was great. A good crowd.
Yeah, decent crowd. Yeah, freezing cold match so and across the road as well. In Virgin Media Park.
And obviously parking issues as a result of that as well.
A decent crowd, good atmosphere as well, I thought.
Yeah, no, it was brilliant. Just a nice evening. And I think the atmosphere leaving the ground was really, everyone was on.
Bit of a buzz, wasn't there? Yeah.
Bit of a buzz afterwards. But it's a good time because actually we did say last week we'll try and get Barry in, but we managed to get him.
He's been busy, yeah, we got him.
Let's see how much of Friday night and how much of his career we'll get in. Welcome to the podcast, Barry. How are you settling in?
Yeah, it's been good, obviously. Lots of stuff we're trying to do and make better and try to get into the way of working, especially the way I like to work. So we're trying to put all these sort of procedures in place, and it still takes a bit of time. So, but no, it's good. We got off to a winning start. I thought probably first 45 minutes we weren't at our best, but we grew stronger as the game went on.
Yeah, and I suppose there's something nice about getting that last minute winner as well. You know, it kind of generates a bit of energy from the crowd anyway. I think everyone was feeling good on the way out. I'd imagine the players were kind of feeling similar in the dressing room, were they?
Yeah, I think so. I actually thought we looked a wee bit nervous in the game to start with. It'd been a while since the guys had played, and it was we looked a bit tense, I thought, first half, and I think the conditions, the way things were, kind of suited Treaty in the game. But I thought as the game wore on, the boys started to get a bit stronger, and we started to move the ball a bit quicker, as though it wasn't that easy to do on the pitch. But no, I thought as the game wore on, we got stronger and stronger.
Was the lack of time on the grass over the winter a bit of an issue for the lads? Because, you know, the weather conditions have been so poor. They've been playing on Astro nearly probably the whole winter, have they?
Yeah, it's all been on grass. On AstroTurf, and I think everyone's the same at the moment. Yeah. I think even in Scotland, there you're seeing some top Premiership games with really expensive drainage pitches have been not playable at the moment, and I don't think we've seen rain quite like it. Nothing
like it before, and not in a long time. Have you moved over fully? Which are you back and forth from Scotland now? Or?
No, I'm moved over. Obviously, I've got a place here as well, and my kids are up there. They're a lot older now, so the missus flies over now and again. But yeah, I'm based here all the time. Yeah.
Are you getting used to the place, or getting used to the accents, or do you?
Yeah, I think I've been on it. I was, even when I do a couple of press conferences, people have been pointing out we answered the wrong question, but I couldn't understand.
So you kind of have to improvise. I'd imagine.
Yeah, they were. I think it was about David and Nolts. Somebody asked me a question, and I had no clue what they said, and I'd says, "No, I'm not talking about the players at the moment." So if everybody bears with, it's the same as when we've got Barry the groundsman at the club and he's so strong Irish and I'm so Scottish, and we're sitting have a 10-minute conversation looking at each other not knowing exactly what we're saying to each other.
And you probably just salute each other and walk off at the end of it.
That's it. So if everybody bears with me a wee bit, I've got a pretty strong Scottish accent, and the Cork accent's pretty strong as well.
So yeah, like, look, a lot of our fans are probably listening and probably wondering the backstory. A lot of people know that you played for Celtic, but I think there's a much bigger story. Like, you kind of worked your way through a lot of clubs to kind of get to that level. It wasn't like a straightforward run. You kind of really had to work hard for it. You started in Inverness, did you, Caledonian Thistle?
No, I actually started at Rangers.
Did you?
Yeah, I started at Rangers, so I went there when I was 15, full time.
And you came from kind of Aberdeen direction?
Yeah, I lived in Aberdeen, so I had to move away from home at 15.
Yeah.
And I was there for 3 years, and obviously got released from Rangers and went back up to Aberdeen where I lived. And I was scrambling about trying to get a team, trying to find a club, and lucky enough, Steve Patterson in Inverness gave me a trial in a game, and then I was there for 3 months. Gave me a 3-month contract, and then they extended it to the end of the season. Then they put me out in loan in Forfar. It was like the second division in Scotland, and that was a real eye opener.
I'd imagine those leagues, I'd say, are they?
Listen, I had to do it from the bottom. I had to work my whole entire way right through the whole system. It was a real learning curve, and it took a lot of hard work, and it took a lot of desire, and it took a lot of, I suppose, commitment. That was the most important thing when you are a football player. And I knew I probably didn't take it seriously enough when I was 16, 17, 18, 19.
Did you get carried away with the fact that a big club like Rangers had scouted you or whatever? Yeah.
Bit of not Jack Galad, a bit of a not a lazy streak. I always trained hard, but you thought you'd kind of made it when realistically I was a million miles away. And you've got to learn how to live your life properly. By that I'm meaning, is your sleep right? Are you eating the right foods? Are you training extra? Are you training more than anyone else? Are you doing these type of things? So it was really when I was about 19, 12, I was on loan at Forfar, and then it really penny dropped. You know, I was coming back in a bus journey from Forfar to Aberdeen on a Thursday night at about 11 o'clock at night, and I went, you've got a choice here. You can want to play at this and be a part-time football player or whatever it is, or you can just go all in and try and be your best you can be. And I chose the second option, thankfully. And the concentrations levels from me there, it was getting the proper sleep, eating the right things. I'd train harder than everyone else. I would go out in the afternoons. I would do things just to make sure that I was working harder than the opponent or anybody else I was training against to get in the team. And thankfully it helped me climb up the leagues and get to where I wanted to get to.
So were you part-time at Inverness, so like a part-time player?
No, it was full-time. I think it was on about £140 a week.
A small contract for a young player, yeah. And
I went on loan from there to a part-time team. So
you probably, were you playing with lads that were working by day doing other stuff?
Yeah.
So that was kind of a wake-up call in many ways, kind of out of the bubble of this is your life.
Yeah, it was. There was no option. I had to fight for everything, and that's what I did, and it was difficult, but as I said, it was putting that determination into really wanting to be a football player, because in football, you can't, it has to be 100%, or there's no point.
Yeah.
There's no point.
Dundee was the kind of game changer though for you, was it? Like playing with Dundee United, kind of, I suppose you became this kind of attacking midfielder, the ability to score a couple of goals and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was, the thing was, by the time I left Forfar on loan, I went back to Inverness. I had a really good season, and it felt like at that time I was outgrowing it. At Inverness, I was performing really well, and had a couple of clubs come in for me. Then Dundee United ended up signing me, and from there on in, I started to really evolve, and as I said, just kept working. I was still doing the same things, back sessions in the afternoon, and through real hard work and mentality to do well, and that was what took me there. And thankfully, I had 4 wonderful years at Dundee United, ended up the captain. And then obviously I felt like at that point I'd outgrown Dundee United, and I felt like I needed the next level of challenge.
And that was it a January transfer window kind of came in the middle of a season, a successful season with Dundee, that you went to Celtic?
Yeah, it was the January transfer window, and I went right to the last day. I was at Celtic, were pushing, trying to get me in, and eventually Celtic were actually trying to get me in the 1st of January because there was an Old Firm game in the 2nd, but got called off. So the deal ended up getting dragged because they wanted me to play in the Old Firm game, but they ended up getting dragged right the way to the end of January. And thankfully, Dundee United was a brilliant club for me. I've still got some great friends. I got on so well with the fans. I was obviously the captain there for years, and it was a real personal successful time. And but the opportunity to go and play in the Champions League was where I really wanted to go to.
And it's very hard to turn down a big club like Celtic. But how did the fans react to you then? Did they know that you had come through the Rangers youth system? Because obviously that rivalry in Glasgow, was it ever even brought up?
I know it was never really brought up in my case. I think because I'd never played first team. So that was a bit different. And I think the way it started quite well for me at Celtic. I think I scored on my debut. With my first touch, and I think I was the only Celtic player ever to do that, so don't quote me on that. You maybe go and check, someone will check and tell me I'm wrong.
Maybe a few Celtic fans listening. I know there's a few follow ball clubs, yeah.
So it started really well for me at Celtic, and then obviously the talk about it scored in the Champions League, and it really took off, and we ended up, I think we were 9 points behind that season, and we ended up going on and winning the season, going on and winning the league on the last day.
But it must have been fantastic to win a league. To win a league title in your home country, like I'd imagine it's just something really nice. It kind of probably cements the reason why you left Dundee in the first place. Yeah,
it was hard to leave Dundee United, obviously, because I was obviously the captain of the football club, and it was a brilliant club to play for. It was a big club. I actually had opportunities to go down to play in England. Yeah. Had a few options of clubs down there, but I wanted to go and play in the Champions League. It was always, for some reason, I always wanted to play in Europe. I thought that was and plus playing at a club of Celtic stature.
And Celtic were doing well in the Champions League at that stage. They were kind of competing, getting a couple of wins here and there, and there was some big nights in Celtic Park, wasn't there, over the years? Oh,
it was. I think people tend to forget that. I think we had a really good side at Celtic at the time. It was. I mean, we were a team that we could play. We were a team that could fight you. We were a team that could run. We had a good mentality about the team. Probably were nowhere near as gifted as probably the team before us with Larsson and Sutton and Hartson and
they were
Petrov.
Kind of a famous team,
They were an unbelievable team. We weren't as good as them, but
you had like Scott Brown playing as well.
Yeah. So but we were a team that could have matched any of the teams now and more, and we were regular in the Champions League, and the teams we were playing against at that time,
that Barcelona team that you scored against.
It was
that was like a dream team in many ways. You had like some Messi and Ronaldinho and Xavi and
they had Xavi and Iniesta. I think it was the two in the middle of the pitch, and they had Yaya Toure playing as a number 6, Marquez, and then Henry was playing up front with I think it was Eto'o and Messi. And then Ronaldinho played, and then I can't remember what it was. We looked over, and I think it was Eto'o. It was coming on as a sub for Henry, and they were an unbelievable team. It was the greatest team I ever played against, and I think.
And sure, Pep on the sideline as well.
No, this was just before Pep.
Was that just before? Pep won because he won. He took over. And they won the Champions League 2 out of 3 years.
The next again. Yeah, but the whole team was there.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that Pep had changed, well, obviously his foot.
I know Ronaldinho went out, I think.
Yeah, Ronaldinho left, and I think Yaya Toure left, and they took Busquets in, but the team, I think they made 940 passes that night. It was just ridiculous, and we couldn't get near them. But it was 3-2 in the game.
Yeah.
And obviously I was lucky enough to score. And
a nice header 2 over the top of the keeper.
It was but Celtic nights in Champions League, when you're 60,000, it's electric. It's a phenomenal place to play. And it was actually, we played So I had to play them in the second leg. We're 3-2 down in the first leg, and had to play them in the second leg at obviously a new camp. And I remember going over, and I was struggling with my hamstring. I never told them and
must be a dream to play in the new camp.
Well, and then so I was going to play, and it was the day before, and Gordon Stacken pulled me, and he said, "You're not playing tomorrow." I said, "Well, what do you mean I'm not playing? I've got to be playing. I scored in the last game. It was this." But he knew I was struggling with my hamstring as well, and I think we had an Old Firm game coming.
Yeah,
I had some big games coming, and it was obviously we were going
he was
away.
watching the league as well,
and that's when you get your first insight into management, and you got to disappoint a player like me. But it was more important that I stayed fit for the next game, because it wasn't too great a chance of us going over at the new camp and beating that team. So it was. And we only lost 1-0 that day. I didn't even get on. He wouldn't even let me on the pitch. So I was frustrated with that.
Those Old Firm games, what do they like to play in? They're very hostile, I'd imagine. But is it good for a player, or do you get nervous?
Yeah, of course. I think you've got to get nervous. I mean, there's only a few games in my career I never got nervous, and I never performed well. I needed that adrenaline. I needed that edge, the way I played. And the Old Firm games were, I played in a few of them. We're drawn 2 each. It was like, I think we were 8 or 9 points behind at this point, and it ended up with 2 Old Firm games in 10 days. And because of the trouble and all that can happen in Glasgow, the games are always like 12 o'clock kickoffs.
They're always early, yeah.
But one in the game could only fit in. It was on a Wednesday or Thursday night, because Rangers were on a big run in Europe at the time, and we were in the Champions League, but we'd just been knocked out. But they were still in the Europa League, so they had a load of games to catch up on. And there was 2 games in 10 days, and we actually won both of them and took the points right back. And they were bedlam. The games were absolute madness. I was fighting it up the tunnel. And I was in the middle of it as well. So it was, it was great. I was lucky
But I can see the smile on your face. You enjoyed that, I'd say.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to score a winner as well. I think we were drawing 2 each. It was about 10, 15 minutes to go. And then we got a penalty, and then I ended up grabbing the ball and thinking, well, why have I grabbed this ball? I said, the options. I thought, if I miss this, I'm never getting out of this stadium alive. But thankfully, I managed to score it, and we won 3-2. So, yeah, and enjoyed the Old Firm games. I loved playing in them. It was trying to, when the madness is going on, you've got to try and keep that calm when the ball comes to you, but you've also got to be fire. When you've not got it, you've got to be after it and ready. It
really is one of the biggest derbies in the world, really, in many ways. Like the hostility there, and I suppose going into Ibrox, I'd imagine as a Celtic player must be like it's definitely. I mean, I even went and played like a Middlesbrough Sunderland derby. They call that the Stadium of Light. It was a great stadium. It was like 50,000. That was all the big stadiums. Like, but the Old Firm one was as big as anyone says anywhere. You know, it's a massive game. Did you get a call up for the Scottish team then as well when you were with Celtic, or were you even in the squad beforehand?
Yeah, I was in the squad beforehand. I thought it was going to. Probably a lot of people thought I would have moved a couple of years earlier from Dundee United than I did, and I know I played for Scotland when I was at Dundee United. I mean, at that time, as a midfield player scoring 10 or 12 goals a season, I mean, you can. Don't get many midfield players. It was hard to get in, because obviously we had Barry Ferguson was playing with Darren Fletcher, with Scott Brown, there was Paul Hartley, there was James Morrison, there was, he was playing in the English Premiership. It was like really good football players at that point. But yeah, I ended up playing quite a lot, and then, I got my first and second cap, I think, before I went to Celtic. But as soon as I went to Celtic, I became a lot more of a regular for Scotland. Then I suppose it's the Champions League football and all that. They kind of take it more serious, is it? When you play with Celtic as well, I think it does show. They normally do play. I suppose you're in that bigger stage a lot of the time, so it was good. You mentioned Middlesbrough there. Was it Gordon Strachan took you down to Middlesbrough as well? So he obviously left Celtic and went down to Middlesbrough. And did he take you in that? Yeah, time? So Gordon signed me for Celtic and Middlesbrough. So I think it was a good deal for Celtic. I mean, at the time when I went to Celtic, I think I was 28, 29. Yeah. stayed there for 3 years, and then I was like 31 or whatever at the time. I don't know what Celtic paid back at the time. I don't know, it was maybe 1.2 million, 1.5 million, something like that. But I think with Middlesbrough, Celtic, I'd went to Celtic and obviously played well and I had a good career there, and the fans, I got on so well with the fans. I had a really good relationship with them, and then I think Middlesbrough came in and offered the same money again. So for Celtic, it made sense.
It was great for them. Yeah,
it was good. It made sense for Celtic. They knew I was getting older as well, but it was tough to leave Celtic. I didn't really want to go.
Especially, did it feel like a step down? Even though I know the same money, but like from the Scottish Premiership but playing in the Champions League down to the Championship with Middlesbrough.
No, I think the thing with Middlesbrough was they'd just been relegated for the first time out for the Premiership for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And I thought Gordon Strachan going in there. And when he spoke to me, he says, listen, when you come down here in January, he said, we're going to go straight back up. I thought we were going straight back up into the Premier League. You know, I was one of them.
Was it another January window again?
It's another January window again.
January's your month, really.
It must be, yeah. And so, yeah, it was tough to leave. I didn't want to leave, but I think it was the right deal for Celtic and the club at the time for the age I was coming to. And I think a lot of our players had started to move on. Obviously, Nakamura was leaving, but Ian McGeady was on his way to leave. Like, the team that had been built and been successful was breaking up. So I thought, well, maybe this is the right time to go. But no, it was really difficult to leave, really difficult.
And the Championship is a tough division as well. And there's so many matches, so many teams, and some teams get stuck there forever.
Oh, it's really difficult. But I absolutely love my time at Middlesbrough. I was lucky enough, I was there for 3 years, got a couple of player of years. I ended up captain there. It was another place where I got on so well with the fans. It was a really good time at Middlesbrough. A brilliant club with great people as well. Really loved the football there.
Yeah, and the likes of Jonathan Woodgate kind of finished up his time there around when you were there.
He wasn't there. Jonathan wasn't there at that time. We had, I think there was still a lot of players in there. The Middlesbrough were trying to move on. There was a lot of players in a lot
from the kind of Premier League era that
I think
I
so.
But dwindled as time went on.
They tried to freshen it up, and it's really difficult. It's really difficult when you come down to get right back up. Now that I know it, but I thought at the time, because it was the only thing I never was go and play in the English Premiership, because I had a chance to do it before I went for Celtic. And when I went to Middlesbrough, I thought, right, this is fine. I'll go and do it. I'll go and play a few seasons in the English Premier League. And I never managed to, just through choosing Celtic, and obviously how it never went the other way for me.
And then you decide to go the other side of the world, over to Canada.
Yeah.
Into the MLS, that was an unusual, but it was one of these players, like every team gets, is it one or two players that they can bring in from overseas or something like that?
Yeah, it was designated players were called DPs, so each club was allowed 3. So in America, the club, if you want to go in the league, you've got to buy your way into the league. So like, I think the last franchise was like something like 200 million.
Yeah.
You've got to pay to go in the league, but then the league owns your players. So the league actually pay your players, all of them, apart from 3 designated players that the club can pay itself.
That's how it works, isn't it?
That's how it works.
Yeah,
so it's quite mad.
Yeah.
So the club, and you get a certain budget for all that players, and the club pay them, the league pay them, and then the club gets to keep its money of all its fan base or whatever, but it can take in 3 designated players. I think that's how it worked, and I think that's how it used to work. I'm maybe wrong. Somebody will correct me.
David Beckham was one of the first to kind of change that rule or something.
So when I think Kenny Miller came over. Kenny Miller, he was a player, striker. He actually came over, so it was like me as a DP and with Kenny as a DP, and then we're going to play against LA Galaxy, and there was Beckham and Landon Donovan and all these guys. So we were a total different type of DP to what these guys, but he expected you to beat 6 players and stick in the top corner, but it didn't work like that.
But you were more the hard-working lads, like, kind of getting stuck in.
Yeah, but listen, I enjoy it. I mean, I scored a few goals as well. I mean, it was my second game. I was playing against LA Galaxy. I scored a header that day. But it was interesting.
Very different, I'd say. Like we talked about the hostility at the Old Firm. It's kind of a bit different in the States. I've gone to 1 or 2 MLS matches, but the atmosphere is completely different, isn't it?
Yeah, it was completely different. But the people in Vancouver were amazing. The club itself were so welcoming, and they were I really enjoyed bits of it, but I got really frustrated with some bits of it. You know, it was a bit. I mean, I needed good players around about me. You know, if I played something around the corner or play a pass and there was no one there, and then that's me. I was looking out of place, and it's like when I was used to having someone there, or I was used to doing it that way, and it took a bit of time that to get used to, and there was a demand of the. The dressing rooms that I came out of were totally different to the demand there. Just a different culture, a different way. And I think I probably went in all guns blazing when I really had to probably adapt more to their culture rather than trying to take the culture that I'd come from over there. But I got on really well with all the people, and it does sound great. You go over, and to me it did, and you think you can.
And did you move the family over there?
Yeah, then you go over there and you think, yeah, I'm going to go and play here my last few years or whatever. And before you know it, I mean, obviously I was in Vancouver, and I know that's in Canada, but they were still part of the MLS franchise. Yeah. And then we played a local derby against Toronto, and it was a 5-hour flight. Yeah. So
crazy.
And then you end up going to there, and then you maybe play another side on the eastern side, and so you could end up flying over to Toronto playing a game. Then I think we flew down to Chicago. You played Chicago 3 days later. Then you flew from Chicago back to Vancouver. You did a game in Vancouver, and then you had to go to LA. And it sounds like it's your jet setting, but you're just on planes. It was really difficult.
You don't see places, really.
You don't know. I mean, yeah, you get after the game, you go out and have some dinner or whatever, and you go and see a place, but you end up on flights just all the time. You end up, so it's not as easy But yeah, a great experience, and you're seeing a different way and a different side of the world and different things. But it taught me a lot about cultures and what everybody's different people, different players. So it gave me a real insight into that.
You didn't stay there long. You came back to Sheffield United, was it?
Yeah, I think I was over there for about 10 months, 11 months, and Sheffield United came in for me and I just went there for it was about 4 months. And then obviously there was a good friend of mine, Derek McInnes, who took me back to Aberdeen.
Back to the home place,
back to where I'd come from. And I think I was 34, 35 maybe at that time. So
probably something nice though to kind of finish your career in the home kind of city. Like I know you grew up nearby, like in a town nearby, but it was nice, I'd say. Yeah,
it was good, and especially because it ended up being such a successful time at Aberdeen Football Club under Derek McInnes. He's the most successful manager probably since Alex Ferguson, especially for winning stats. He did an unbelievable job there, and he was a good friend of mine. And it was great. I ended up playing there till I was 37, 38, nearly 38 I was. So really good times. And then obviously he offered me and took me onto the coaching side.
And you started doing your pro license and all that kind of stuff then at that stage. And did you take over the under-18s, was it?
Yeah, well, look, to start with, when I retired, I'd still thought I could play, and then Derek told me I couldn't, and he'd said he wanted me to come in on his staff, so I got a first team coaching role, and obviously I was backing up him and Tony Docherty, and he was taking the odd passing drill and just listening and learning and being in about the boys and like making sure all the training was ready and right, and just being a real support to them. And I did that for a year or two and really enjoyed it, learning and looking. And then I said to Derek, I said, I need to have my own team, I need to get to be stretched here. And he said, that's fine, no problem. So he said, you can take the under-18s, but you're going to need to do the first team as well. So I was 7 days a week.
So what, you were helping out with the first team and then you were coaching them?
Yeah, so I would coach the 18s in the morning and the afternoons, but I would be in with Eric and that, and they would all be speaking about the first team tactical stuff. And then we had an 18s game on a Friday. Every Friday we played with 18s. So if that was in Glasgow, Edinburgh, wherever it was, I'd do the 18s game, and then I'd need to jump in a taxi to the first team hotel. It was on a Friday night, and I would go there, stay overnight with the first team. Then with the first team, we'd have a game on a Saturday. So I'd be there up in the stands, and I was always in the mic up in the stands. And it was a brilliant time. Really good, real good learning side.
So when you're up in the stand, because people see coaches like that up in the stand, like what are you saying? Because we'll see.
Easier.
So you're kind of giving an overview of what you see on the pitch, and you're giving it back to, is it the assistant coaches you're giving?
So they had Paul Sheeran on the bench and Tony Docherty and Derek, and then I would be sitting up in the stand, and then I would just have Paul would have the earpiece in, and I would just say, listen, I think your left winger he's too high, he's too wide, he needs to tuck in a bit, because it's not always easy to see when you're down in the bottom and the speed of the pitches, or they would radio up to me, what are you thinking of this? What do you think of this system? Do you think this is better? This is what we're seeing down here. What are you seeing up there? Or then you just come in at half time, and Derek would always ask an opinion quickly and say, what do you think? Or what do you think of that? What do you think of that? And you just have to give him a short, sharp answer. Sometimes he would listen, sometimes he wouldn't. Yeah. And sometimes you were right and sometimes you were wrong. It's never easy in football, but a great learning experience. And
I'd imagine so. You become very analytical of, like, in your approach, imagine, to the game, because you're looking at it from a very strategic perspective.
Yeah.
And so you get an overview first before you get into the nit and gritty of day-to-day football.
Definitely, you do see it, and there's no emotion up on the stand. It's the emotion of being on a bench.
Yeah.
You can see it from away from all the emotion. You can see it from the higher end, and it takes a bit of time being down on a bench to learn and see, because you don't always see it. And then when then you've got the emotion of making decisions. Is it the right decisions? And all these things that I learned doing at that point. But it was enjoyable to learn that way. But Derek also liked. He was big on a culture about the players. He always liked me about the players. You can have a bit of a laugh with them, and you wind them up and all the rest of it. And but you're always serious and making sure that they're okay. And so he was really big on that, and that's why he's been a successful manager, because it is important to have a good culture in your team. I mean, there's no one more serious than me, but I want to see the players smiling as well. I want to see them enjoy you. I mean, nobody wants the dread coming into their work in the morning.
No. They want to enjoy it. They
want to enjoy it, as well as knowing, right, but now we're training, so get down to work now.
When Derek left the role, then did you get put in for a game or something first, or before you? Was there another interim manager then?
Yeah, I did one game as interim manager, and then I think the next time round, I did 2 games maybe, and then the next time round after that was when I ended up getting the job.
So you had 2 kind of very brief spells.
Very brief spells, yeah.
So you were still the under-18s coach through all that phase and still working on the first team?
At that time it was more, there was a different structure would come through the club, so we would have maybe 8, 9, 10, 11 boys, 19, 20, 21 as well. So it was like we would take some reserve or 20 teams as well. So I was basically running everything underneath the first team.
The whole youth structure.
Obviously you had the academy manager, but he would be dealing more with the 18s and unders. Yeah. So I was running basically the players for about 20, 21 that weren't really quite in the first team down to the 18.
You probably dealing with loans and stuff like that.
We dealt with Neil Simpson. It was dealing with that. So I was kind of the structural head of that. Yeah. And I let the academy director deal with more of the younger ones, so I would run most of that at that point.
And then you took over. You had a successful run as a caretaker, and you were offered the permanent position at Aberdeen then.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, that's exactly how it happened. And I think we won 7 games in a row or something, which was great. We ended up finishing 3rd, and that put us into group stage Europe for the first time in a long time. And then obviously we went into the European stages and all that after that.
But it must be like, it's probably fantastic to manage your local club as well. I'd imagine, there was a bit of a buzz in that, and the family and everything must be kind of buzzing the fact that you were.
Yeah, it's also a huge football club, Aberdeen. Yeah. I think
people forget that they won the likes of the Cup Winners' Cup and stuff and beat Real Madrid.
It was a huge football club, and it was a brilliant club to manage. Yeah. And obviously there is real high demand, and we actually probably overachieved with the team to start with, and we managed to get them to 3rd place. And then what happened with the team at that point, I think we had 7 or 8 players that was on loan. That was the most in Europe, and all them players had to go back. So they had one window to try and get a load of players in. Obviously we were trying to get the right ones, and we couldn't get the right ones at the right time, so we had to take a few more loans, rest them back just to try and fill in till we got to the next summer. And what people don't teach in management is, you think, I'm just going to go in, right, and I'm going to have this amount of time, I'm going to get this player, I'm going to get that player, this is how I'm going to do it, I've got a budget. doesn't work like that. You go in there, and I think I must have been on 6 Zoom calls for centre backs. So I was on my 7th. And it's hard. You're trying to get people to come and stay and live in Aberdeen, their families.
And it's quite a distance away from where
is.
the heart of Scotland, I suppose. The likes of Edinburgh and Glasgow, where a lot of people would probably be like, I wouldn't mind living there.
I lost a couple of centre backs to Edinburgh.
Yeah.
People wanting to live in Edinburgh. So that was the hardest part, trying to get the centre back. And then when we were doing pre-season, we were a lot of younger players because we couldn't get the players in because the players are waiting till the end of the window. The top ones and you're waiting on them, so you're trying to implement a style of play or whatever, and then you're going straight into European games, and that was really difficult. And then when the draw came in, we were drawn in a group of Eintracht Frankfurt, PAOK, who had a similar budget to Celtic, and Helsinki. So Eintracht Frankfurt just won a UEFA Cup, I think, year before, 2 years before. And PAOK are a huge club with the money they were spending. So I was actually looking at when the draw came in, I went, like, it was the 2 teams you don't want. You don't want Frankfurt and you don't want PAOK. Boom, there we go. Both came out. But we did really well. And when you look at the structure of the European stuff now, they're going to a 32-game league or whatever.
It's nearly easier, I'd imagine.
It is easier.
Yeah.
It is, and believe me, take it from me, because when we went into the groups, I mean, if you could draw, if you imagine Aberdeen just in the last one there, they drew AEK Athens. I think they only to play them once, didn't they? Was it maybe away from home?
You play every team only once. Like, you always look whether you get them at home or away. Like,
so when you draw Eintracht Frankfurt, you're playing them home and away. So you're playing them twice. You draw PAOK, you're drawing them home and away. So you know and that's 4 games that shouldn't really have a chance of winning with the financial between the 2 clubs. But we end up beating Frankfurt at home. We drew
That's a huge result.
We drew with PAOK. We were 2-0 up against PAOK and we lost 3-2 to PAOK at home. And this is another thing they don't teach in management. And I think they'd got to go back to 2-1. We broke up the pitch and we should have the Stonewall penalty, but it was VAR never intervened. So we were going mental on the side. Yeah. This is VAR when it was just coming into
kind of starting in European football.
Yeah, and it was starting to get it, and they just got this decision so wrong. And then 2 of my players came over because of the amount of games we were playing. Gaffer says, we need to come off. I says, I feel like my hamstring's going to go. And the other one says, I feel my calf. So I had to make 2 changes. I didn't want to. And so we made the 2 changes for the players because I didn't want to lose them for 8 weeks or 3 months. We end up losing the game and everybody says, oh, your changes were terrible. So you had no option as a manager. They are not privy to what goes on.
I presume you didn't come out and say, well, his hamstring was on the way of going there.
Well, to be fair, I did say, look, with 2 players that were struggling with injury and because the team didn't need disruption at that point, it was the last thing in the world we wanted to do. Yeah. And I says, even speaking to your bench on the side, I was like, guys, we can't be doing this. We need to keep this team. We are right where we want to be. But for me, it wasn't your top striker, top midfield player. I wasn't going to lose him. It was, you had to take the chance, or you had to do it because you cannot go and lose 2 of your best players for 4 months. You can't because of all the stuff that's coming through. So,
but does the media then put pressure on you as a manager then because of those decisions, even though they're already up control? So then the fans, the media, everything starts kind of coming in on top of it.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah. That's football. It always has been, always will be. And
especially a big club like Aberdeen.
Yeah, listen, I've played at big clubs. I've played with teams. I've been at clubs. I've been booed from my own fans and the opposition. So I'm well aware of what...
it's fickle, isn't it?
What football is. Yeah. And you don't get the time that you used to have, and you don't get time to settle into the club. And
it's getting worse. If you look at
it's getting worse. I mean, the Aberdeen job for me was a big one because I tried to do it the right way. Sometimes you just think as a manager goes in, try and get as many players as you can, quick as you can, whatever. Yeah. But I had a real affection for the football club, and every football club I went to, I've tried to do it the right way, and I just says, no, I'm not signing that player. That player will go without just now until we find the right one and we can get a loan in, it'll get us by, and we'll try and build it slowly and the right way, and that's what I tried to do. And I probably shouldn't have. I probably just should have signed in to get you by, but it's the same. I've always had that feeling at a football club. I mean, even when we're sitting in here, Cork, just now, I was going to try and sign willy-nilly players. I've not done it. I think the most important window is going to be in the summer. I think we need to try and find the right people. I think by the time I got into this job, I think most 95% of the players had already moved by the time I'd got into this job. So I'd missed probably
So there's no point just going for anybody then at that stage.
I'd missed the window of the players. And I don't, and even if I was here, it's a really hard window for this club to recruit in January, because all the players that you are obviously trying to recruit, if it's especially across the water, you that's too important a time for their clubs. They could be mid-season, whereas this club start season.
It's kind of a bit of a juggling act.
It is a real juggling act. So the summer one is always a better window. And I think you've got to give players opportunity here as well. And I also think you need to be fair as well to the football club. It has got a decent budget, and I think obviously being relegated last year, you've got to be careful with the finances. Yeah. It's something that I'm mindful of. I want this football club to be strong, and I want it to be sustainable, and that's the type of manager I am. I'm not. We have to be calm, and we have to. The biggest thing that myself's looking into, and even Simon as well, is we're really looking at the whole structure of the football club right now. The whole structure. And we're trying to work on these things at the moment to see if we can make it a lot more sustainable and stronger as we go as a football club.
How did the move to I know you were at Rate last, but how did that come? How did it come about to come to Cork?
My best mate Willow, who is a football agent as well. He's obviously he's Irish as well, and he's well connected over here, and it came about through him, and I ended up speaking to Dermot and spoke to Simon, and then we decided to go for it. And as I said before, it's a big club. It's when it gets going, it's got a lot of fans. Even the other night when you got the game, it was a really good atmosphere. You can see the passion for the team.
Is there similarities to Scotland in terms of, obviously you were in the Championship there now at Rate, like in terms of grounds and sizes and stuff? Obviously it's not.
I've not seen all the grounds yet, so I mean,
but like obviously the stadiums get smaller. Like you've come up through the divisions in Scotland.
There's some big Championship clubs in Scotland. I mean, like Raith Rovers, or they're a bigger club than what you think, and Dunfermline's some big clubs you get there. To be fair, I don't know a lot of the clubs that I'm going to see here. It's a bit of a learning. It's a bit of a learning curve for me, and but football is football, and no matter where you're at, you still have to do the basics well. You still got to do all the best things, all the things in the game right. As I said, whether it's tracking a runner, whether it's running forward, whether it's winning a second ball, whatever level you're at, if you don't do the basics right, you'll be in trouble.
And you play with the 3-4-3 system. Is it a 3-4-3 or is it a 3-5-2?
No, it's I mean, we never started with that with Cork. I played back fours. I've mixed it up a lot. I also.
Is it kind of fluid? It kind of moves around?
Yeah. You've got to, even if you look at, sometimes you might play a back three.
Yeah.
But you're building in a four. You could have a wing back staying low. You could have a wing back staying high. If you're playing with a back four, you can have a full back going on, and your other one tucks in to come into a three. So it's not. It's just you've got to look at what the opposition is, what you're coming up against, where you think you can hurt them. I also think if you've got two strikers and a number 10 on you, I think that really excites fans as well. And if you've got wing backs that've got real. So it really depends. I think if you even watch Arsenal sometimes, you can see they build up in a 3, or sometimes they build up in a 4. Man City, you can't even tell what they are at times.
It's all over the place, I suppose there was so much controversy around, I suppose, the likes of Amorim and all the media were saying you can't play with that system, and then then there's other managers like Glasner and stuff. It's become a topical thing at the moment.
Yeah,
isn't it?
It is. I think Xabi Alonso and Amorim were two of the most sought after coaches in world football at the time they got their moves, and they both played back threes. I think it's different if if you're sitting in the back five.
Yeah.
If you just sit there with a line of 5 and you've got people sitting in front and you don't move, I mean, that's negativity, but a back three is actually a more expansive system. If you've got wing backs that are wingers really high, and you've got two strikers on the pitch. Now, you can go the opposite way. So I just don't think. I think, listen, who am I to comment on Armour or Man United or any of that? But obviously, I think because I was looked a bit rigid, didn't look fluid. Maybe that's why the fans. I don't know. It was, but no. If you'll see us, it'll be no. We sometimes play with a 4. We sometimes play with a 3. And as I said, your team identity is when you've got to be fast and aggressive, and listen, don't get me wrong, it's difficult at times at the moment with the pitches, but
your style will be attacking, like yourself as an attacking midfielder.
Yes, exactly, it is, and I think you've also got to look at what you have in your squad.
Yeah,
we've got 2 terrific strikers, and we're just going to leave one on the bench.
Yeah,
so you
kind of have to adapt to them.
You've got to adapt for what you have in the building, or you've got 2 really good wingers, but you've also got to think of the defensive structure of the squad and the team as well. So it's you can stop a game at any time and you say, well, what system is this team? What system? You don't know. So, but as I said, that if you're just sitting in, if I'm sitting in Turner's Cross just with a 5, just not moving, yes, I don't think anybody would want to watch that type of football. But
you also took a risk the other night in bringing on a 16-year-old in Killian, which is nice to see from because they always like to see some of their own youngsters kind of coming through, but you obviously had faith in him.
Yes, I like young players, but I've also told the young players here as well, I think there's no entitlement to play, you have got to earn it.
Yep.
And they've been all really good, really receptive, but you're going to have to work really hard to get in the team, and you're going to have to make sure when you get in the team, you stay in the team, and you've got to be prepared to do the other side of the game. So a lot of young players coming through now, they're all exciting when they get the ball, but you've got to know when to defend, where to stand on the press, where can you stand and help your own teammate. You can go and stand in an area of the pitch and it frees up your teammate. If it's a wide player coming in and standing, it frees up your teammate and then he can get in. You've got to think about what is right for you and your obviously your teammate. How are you helping the team? Are you in the right position, being ready to press? Are you in the right position to be able to run behind and get a ball that comes through? You can't just think about yourself, oh, I'm getting the ball and I'm doing this with it, because you'll never get anywhere with that. You've got to be able to be in the right places at the right times and make sure that you're helping. And they'll take that on board and they'll listen. But I'm big on playing young players. I've played young players through whatever club I've been at, but you have to be ready and you have to be able to perform well in the team when you do it. And Killian at the moment is performing really well, as is other ones. You've got Matty Murray and Brodie Lee. You've got these young kids who probably need to learn more on the other side of the game, but they all do. So it's no different at any other football club.
You've kept the same coaching team. How are you finding that? Because you didn't bring in your own coaches and stuff. You kind of kept with the lads over there. I've
just come in and gave opportunity, and I just said, listen, guys, what do you think? You can watch me work for the next few months. I can watch you work. This is how I want things done. This is how and then we see where that takes us. And I think that's quite fair. You should always give people opportunity in life. And so they've been great so far, and they've worked extremely hard. And it's probably a lot different to how they've worked in the past. But no, they've been really good so far.
And what's the goal for the season? To get promoted?
Well, obviously, I mean, we all want to get promoted. That's what we're here for. And I'm just so sick of repeating myself. It's going to be tough. You see the team coming there the other night, the way they are, and the pitches and things, and anything can happen, a bounce the balls and that. So we need to make sure that we're focused, and we might have to mix up the way we play. Obviously, you could see when we were trying to move the ball quickly the other night, it was hard. We couldn't do it, so might have to find other ways of trying to create opportunities. But when I watched our chances back, we should have scored 2 or 3 goals. There was no doubt about that. But I'm pleased they did. They got stronger as the game went on. We never started the game particularly well, I didn't think. Credit to the opposition as well. And as I said, I thought we're a bit tense, we're a bit jumpy, we're a bit nervous. And that's because they want to do so well for the fans, and the fans need to know that. It wasn't a case of
That first game could be a bit nervous.
It is, and they were a bit. Then they wanted to do so well.
Yeah.
And you know what? Credit to them, because as I said, if you watch a game back, you can see it with your eyes to start with. But when you watch a game back like I do and study it, you can see we got stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger as the game went on. And I felt if the game had won a bit longer, we would have performed even better. So that was pleasing for me. And getting the 3 points, and that's the most important thing. And as I said, they'll be a big help to us this year, the fans. They're going to be massive for us, especially at home, when we can get them in there. And they're the ones that take the players along.
Yeah.
They always are. I remember when I played myself, when you got that fan base behind you pulling them along, they're the ones that make you perform better.
So 3 points in the bag, hopefully first of many this season. Thanks a million for coming in, Barry, and I'm sure we'll have you on again before the end of the season, hopefully, when we're talking about us being up near the top. But best of luck for the rest of the year.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
What a career, huh?
Unreal, isn't it?
Yeah. Not many fellas can say that they played against Messi and Ronaldinho and Henry and
scored.
Yeah, scored.
A great header as well, as you mentioned.
Like scoring in Old Firm derbies. You've seen, taking a penalty in the last minute of the game.
Seen a lot of the world as well, going over to the MLS.
Playing in Vancouver, playing against Beckham and Landon Donovan and for that famous LA Galaxy team.
Yeah.
And playing in the Championship in Middlesbrough and
some career, to be fair.
Brilliant career. I'm playing for Scotland, playing for his country. And then, of course, managing Aberdeen to third in the Scottish Premiership. And we all know how big Celtic and Rangers are. So to get Aberdeen to third, that's like winning the league in itself.
Third in the Scottish Premiership is as good as winning it, but if you take the other two out.
I know Hearts are doing really well this year, but that's very unusual in my lifetime.
True, yeah.
I haven't seen, I think Aberdeen are actually the last team to win the Scottish Premiership besides Celtic and Rangers. So,
but after everything, Barry had in his playing career, managerial career, hearing him talk about Cork City and what he wants to do with Cork City, it's encouraging. It gets you fired up a bit.
And I think the fans will like his style of play as well. He was talking about this attacking style. And I know I asked him because it seemed the other night looking at it that it was a 3 at the back, but he kind of explained that well, that it can be a 4, it can be a 5, it can be a 3.
Depends on how the game is going. Yeah, it moves around.
Yeah, so it moves, but definitely he wants to free up the lads up front and to make sure he's fitting in. He said the 2 strikers. I mean, Keats and Shawnee, we all want to see them play. You know what I mean? So he's trying to make room for them. And then I think I was impressed anyway. But Killian made a great debut.
He did very well. Yeah, we were saying it. He'd done well in pre-season, and Barry and the other players are speaking very highly of him. But this was, I suppose, a lot of people's first opportunity to actually see him, and he did very well when he came on.
Greg looked good as well the other night for the guy that they're joking. Was a Shawnee joke last week? He's around for
Shawnee said he had 40 years of experience. Yeah. No, Greg did brilliantly, but Greg doing brilliantly isn't even. Yeah. It's par for the course. You expect it from him every week. He's that good.
No. So afterwards, that's all you can ask for. The 3 points in the bag, and we move on. So obviously, we head to the sunny southeast. Well, it'll probably be raining, but we're going to Wexford next.
Yeah, Ferry Carrick Park on Friday night. Yeah, first trip there in a couple of years. Wexford had a good start as well, actually, last week. 3-0 win. That was a surprise against Cove. Yeah, it took a few people by surprise. All right, yeah. Everyone would have fancied Cove after Cove had such a good season last year. They would have fancied them at home. And I saw in the off season, Jamie Wynn. I don't remember, he played for us in the 2021 season. He went to the States afterwards. He's at Wexford now at the minute, so I think he's the only former City player down there at the minute, but we'll be seeing him on Friday night. So that'll be a tough look. I think Barry mentioned that there, even, I suppose, every game is going to be tough. The way teams set up against you, we're the ones that everyone will want to beat as well, because we'll be seen as the big team coming down from the Premier Division. Yeah, that Fiacre said as much in the presser last week, that everyone is going to want to try and beat Cork City, which is, you'd expect it as well, though. Yeah, of course that's the case. So look, every game be tough, but I'd imagine the lads will get, Barry was talking about it there, the conditions of the pitches and stuff like that. They're getting back into it, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But hopefully we can make it 2 from 2 on Friday. The academy is back as well this weekend, is it? Yeah, so it's actually a busy weekend coming up. It's the first weekend where it's obviously the academy teams have been playing friendlies, but the league is back, all the different leagues. A lot of fixtures across the weekend. So on Saturday, the men's under-20s are playing St. Pat's at home. Women's 17s are away to Treaty United, and the men's 15s are away to St. Pat's. That's being played in Blanchardstown. And on Sunday, the Women's Development League, which is
the new league coming in. It's under 23s. Yeah.
Is that kind of like a reserve league in many ways, with being the older age profile?
Yeah, it's kind of like an evolution of the under 19s league, which it previously was. It gives a chance for older players to feature as well.
Yeah.
You can feature first team players in it as well. So that's essentially its purpose. The first game in that one for us is against St. Pat's, which will be your first women's game against St. Pat's because they weren't in.
Yeah.
It's still an academy league, but it's more of a senior league than an underage league, if that makes sense. And then our men's under 17s are playing on Sunday as well. 2 p.m. kickoff up in Mayfield against Limerick.
So lots of fixtures. So if anyone wants to go along to those games, give a bit of support.
Yeah, and keep an eye on socials as well. We'll obviously be putting up kickoff times and venues. With the way the weather has been around Cork and Ireland the last couple of weeks, they're probably subject to change. So keep an eye on it right up to the day if you're going to go to any of them.
And there's also a meet and greet on Saturday, is there?
Yeah, so we're having our first meet and greet of the season at the club shop on Saturday. Around 1 o'clock-ish. Keep an eye on the socials in Douglas Village. Yeah, keep an eye on our social media for that. We'll confirm the time and the players, but good opportunity to get into the club shop, meet some of the new faces and some familiar faces as well. Those things are always good fun. There's always kind of good crack, good atmosphere.
So there'll be a few players there.
There'll be probably 3 players. Yeah, we'll confirm them on social media. Even maybe by the time this is out, you'll know who's going to be. But yeah, that's something to look forward to on Saturday.
And speaking of new faces, did I hear that there might be another new face appearing at the club this week?
Yeah, we've a loan signing come in. AJ Bridge, he's a midfielder in on loan from Norwich City, so he's got the number 8 jersey anyway. So seems to be an exciting young player. Was at Middlesbrough for a while and went to Norwich City. So we obviously don't know a whole lot about him. We haven't seen much of him yet, but might get to see him on Friday.
Well, look, last year some of our best players were some of the loan signings we got in. I mean, so like hopefully the same thing will happen this season. Yeah, so like I suppose it's kind of all systems go at the moment. So the academy kicking off, I suppose the men's team away for the first away fixture of the season as well. But a lot of hype at the club and off to a good start. So I hope people enjoyed the episode of Barry, but this is going to be one of many I think we're going to have in terms of interviews, in-depth interviews again.
Of course, yeah, and we mentioned we'll have Barry towards the end of the season. There's a couple of new players we want to hear from, a couple of players who were here last year we haven't heard from yet. A few of the coaches we want to get in as well, and different voices from across the club. Yeah. I mentioned it before, supporters, volunteers. We want to expand it a bit this year. And yeah, we're looking forward to getting all those in and getting them done.
Yeah, so keep listening. We said last week we'll be back on a regular basis, and look, we've kept to our word. We're 2-2 now.
We're back. Just one thing to mention before we head off. Christina Dring, we announced during the week, is departed the club. She's here.
Christina's been one of the longer players of the women's team.
Yeah, she stepped away due to work commitments, but we had it up on socials during the week. She joined in 2017.
Yeah.
Won the FAI Cup, over 170 appearances, 30 odd goals as well. Some run in a City shirt for her. But yeah, we wish her all the very best. She was there on Friday night. We were slagging her that we just announced she was gone and she's still hanging around, but no, it was good to see her.
She'll be there to support.
Of course she will. Yeah, she'll be at it
this year.
Absolutely she will, yeah. We've mentioned the teams coming back. The women's team obviously kicking off in a couple of weeks' time as well. We'll have a bigger feature on that closer to kick off, but counting down to that now as well.
But actually staying on the women's team before we finish up, I see congratulations to Colleen as well. I think
Colleen and Shane, had the baby,
Yeah, so congratulations from us all at the club.
Newest member of the Rebel Army.
Yeah. So probably another visitor to the cross over the next couple of years.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll have to get the baby grows and the baby bibs ready.
No, so congratulations from us all. And so another former guest of the podcast as well. So
brilliant to see, isn't it?
Brilliant to see. And look, so yeah, we're a much bigger community than just the team that played on Friday night. And that's something that we'll emphasise across the season.
Look, we say it all the time, but it's very, very true. It's more than the 11 men on a Friday night like it used to be.
So look, enjoy the game on Friday. So you can obviously watch on LOI TV.
On LOI TV as normal. The away tickets, there's links on our social media to get the tickets from Wexford website, and even beyond that, we're back at home the following week against Bray Wanderers. Tickets for that are on sale to our own channels as well, ccfc.ie/tickets.
Brilliant. And and we might see you down at the shop. We'll probably be there ourselves at the shop on Saturday.
We usually say see you at the cross, but it's see you at the shop this week.
And we'll be back with the podcast next week again. So talk to you then.
See you then.